I wasn't necessarily sad when I first heard. It was just kind of one of those things, oh, okay. You know, we were somewhat excited because he was excited, but on the other hand, it was just kind of lingering in the back of my mind. He's really going to be gone for 6 months and he's really going to a war zone. But when it sunk in, my friends were just, they really didn't know how to act around me. That's what they kept saying, so they just left altogether. They wouldn't call, they wouldn't return my calls, they wouldn't come around.
Miranda, an only child, became closer with her mother.
Being Air National Guard, we are a unique bunch where we're kind of displaced. We're not around an active duty base. And so not a lot of kids that you associate with have parents in the military. So it wasn't something that they understood.
Your typical Guard base, you're getting folks anywhere from within the local community up to 2 or 3 hours away. We even have folks that fly into our particular unit to serve. So we don't have the cohesiveness that maybe active duty base would have, which makes it kind of difficult for family functions and or family unity in times of crisis, at least as a whole.
Miranda needed surgery on her foot. She had an adverse reaction to medication and had to be hospitalized for several days.
We live about 4 hours away from the hospital, so I was there by myself and I couldn't communicate to my husband that there had been a problem.
I only know what the family's going through by what they tell me. So if they're going through some major issues or some typical daily issues, I'm not abreast unless they let me know.
And that was the first time I felt that he was gone and unavailable. And that was hard. It was very, very difficult. And it was not only difficult on me, but I had to kind of shelter him from the reality of what was actually going on because I didn't want him to worry too much.
They were holding up fine, at least I thought so.
But Miranda wasn't fine. As a high school senior in 2010, she's taking college courses at Willow International Community College. She's homeschooled and has always performed above grade level. But when her dad deployed, she lost confidence and self-esteem.
I didn't tell my dad about it, I didn't talk to him about it, I didn't talk to my mom about it. It was just one of those things that was just going on and I didn't feel that anybody really understood. I really did not begin to cope with it until after I met Kaylee and after I realized I wasn't the only one who felt that way.
Miranda represented the California Guard at a national conference for teenagers in St. Louis. That's where she met Kaylee, who was there for the State Air National Guard.
They decided that they could communicate with each other and that they can commiserate, and they knew what each other were going through, and so they were basically helping each other through. And these are two girls who are complete opposites.
Kaylee, when I met her, she had like 3 different colored hair, mohawk, and she was on the football team, and she was just kind of someone I would never normally hang out with, just because we were so different. And she says the same thing about me.
But they went to more conferences together, including one held for women sponsored by California First Lady Maria Shriver.
It was actually Miranda on the plane ride back home who realized we could have a conference of our own. And she started coming up with ideas. And about 2 weeks later, she called me and she had a little bit of a PowerPoint put together. And she just was throwing down ideas at the table. And it was so exciting just hearing the excitement in her voice.
They had that aha moment where it was like, oh, this is what the girls need. They need sisterly support. They need to get together and to encourage each other and to help each other through the difficulties that they experience through a deployment and after. The Guard has a lot of programs for kids, but there was nothing peer-to-peer, and that was the thing that they felt was missing.
We are starting a program, the Sisterhood of the Traveling BDUs, in order to bring girls together.
And so the Sisterhood of the Traveling BDUs was born. The girls took their plans to the State National Guard headquarters and got an enthusiastic reception. The conference was on.
It was really inspiring to find girls with this much drive and desire to help others. From there, we've gone forward with, working with them, assisting them, and incorporated in as a part of our child and youth programs.
The conference would have a meet and greet night, then speakers and workshops. The girls had their own publicity campaign for the Sisterhood on YouTube and Twitter.
The way I see it, it's a means of providing services to these girls in California that would normally be found on a military base. We don't and aren't able to, because of the disbursement, have youth centers for children to go to after school. The military bases do. So this will give them a means of meeting together, sharing their issues, their problems, their solutions.
After graduating from high school, Kaylee, who's had a fascination with the military since childhood, will head to Marine Boot Camp at Parris Island, South Carolina. Miranda will enter the Air Force Academy. They're both determined to find other girls to carry on the vision of the sisterhood of the traveling BDUs.
The sisterhood is a movement. It's not solely one conference. It's a series. It's girls coming together to support each other.
In the end, more than 100 girls from military families between the ages of 13 and 18 from across California were able to attend.
Military girls, when they go through deployments and various things about being military children, it shouldn't just be written off as, oh, they're just teenage girls, they're just being drama queens.
Sympathy, we're not asking for tons of sympathy, it's just understanding and sensitivity. And I think that they need to have counselors at the school equipped to handle these teens, especially if this is going to be a war generation.
The vision: take the sisterhood national and have conferences in every state in the Union.
People said that it put a face on the war for them, and they could understand it a little better when they knew someone that was in the war. So I would send updates and let people know how he was doing and how his unit was doing.
When the 3rd Battalion, 25th Marine Regiment returned home from Iraq in November of 2005, the local news coverage was heavy, the turnout spectacular. The 325, a reserve unit out of Brook Park, Ohio near Cleveland, had an extremely tough deployment. 48 Marines were killed, 16 in one particularly horrible week. Corporal Stan Mayer's mom, Mary Ann, didn't really know how tough it was until her son was home. After the 325's return, a magazine article soon supplied a lot of disturbing details.
And I just grabbed him and I said, I had no idea, Stan. And he said, that's okay, Mom, you weren't supposed to know. You don't have to know this. We keep it in-house. It was a real shocker. He was, every day going on missions, accomplishing this assault against insurgency and unearthing IEDs, and they were always daily in harm's way.
While he was in Iraq, Corporal Mayer's family was plenty concerned, even without knowing the specifics.
It's something I read about in the paper, but now I know the reality of it, the day-to-day sacrifices that have to be made by the whole family, and how the whole family's life changes.
Corporal Mayer was mostly at forward operating bases with limited opportunity to contact home. He did call the day his Humvee came under devastating fire. A close friend was killed, and Mayer was seriously wounded.
I think maybe we talked to him maybe 3-4 times the whole time that he was over there, and one being the morning that he called from the hospital. To get that phone call from Stan the morning that he was blown up was an experience that I would prefer never to have to go through again.
Mary Ann thinks mothers and fathers experience deployments differently.
Men tend to keep it close to the vest, and knowing that my husband wasn't the only one that got really quiet when I wanted to talk, we women wear it right here. we want to share it.
We try not to let our emotions show because it just upsets everybody in the family, and they don't need that.